Hey everybody, and welcome back to Art a la Carte. Today's video is a tutorial step-by-step video on how to draw different hairstyles for women. I have quite a few videos on this already, but I get a lot of requests asking for more of these types of videos and different types of hairstyles, so let's just jump into this one. So as you can see, I'm starting off with a base face already, and we're going to put just a bunch of different hairstyles on her. So the first thing you want to think about when drawing hair is that you don't want to think about it as individual hairs. You want to think of it as an overall shape. In all of my videos that I teach in drawing, I always talk about looking and finding the shapes, combining shapes, overlapping shapes, and that's really going to help you as you create hair as well, if you can see it as a general overall shape. And the best way to do this is look at a lot of different reference photos. Really sketchily, I'm kind of carving out this overall basic shape. Two other things I want to mention that I'm doing in this video. One is I'm going to keep everything real time, so you can see the process with this, how I go back and I'll erase certain lines. That's the part of the sketching process, is every line doesn't have to be perfect, but I want to do it real time so you can kind of see that so it doesn't skip over things. And two, I decided I wanted to do this digitally because I've noticed a surgence in the popularity of people wanting to draw digitally now. I think it's because draw using your iPad and other tablet devices. I know a lot more people are getting into this. So for those of you who are wondering what kind of software and things that I use to draw, for this specifically I'm drawing on my computer. I have a Wacom tablet and I'm using Clip Studio Paint, which is a one-time purchase for the computer, and then you have it for the rest of your life. I also have an iPad where I can draw, and I have Procreate that I use, and I also have Clip Studio Paint for that. Though I will tell you that Clip Studio Paint for the iPad is a monthly subscription, so it's a little bit more expensive, but I love it so much that I don't care. I buy the monthly subscription. Whatever you use, whether it's digital or paper, the biggest thing is to practice. And that's why studies are so important, because you're just pushing yourself on a specific topic. So instead of focusing on drawing this entire face, the eyes and the mouth and the nose and the ears and the shoulders and the outfit and then the hair, we're just taking one specific feature, which is the face. Now, for those of you who this would benefit, I'm going to make this file available for you guys to download. You can either use it digitally on your own devices to draw with, or you can print it off and draw a whole bunch of hairstyles using this one if you'd like, if that helps you. So look in the description box below and you'll find a link to that. Before we get into creating these different kinds of hairstyles, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section below what type of tutorial videos you'd like to see more of. Back to my hairstyle. Let's move on to the second one. Step one is to think of your hair as an overall shape. Step two is to think of it in layers. So as you look at someone, the hair that's closest to them is in the front layer, and then there's back layers, and there's side layers. For this character, she has her bangs, her sides, and then the back of her hair. So again, I'm drawing all of these as shapes, but I start off with the bangs, and you'll see that some of the bangs are coming on the front of her face, and then as it moves to the side, I also overlap those to the face. So the side of the bang that's farthest away from you, you'll see how that tucks in behind the hair. Then I have the middle part of the hair, which this one I gave her a nice little headband, so I drew that in there. And then I have the back of the hair that kind of goes over her shoulder. So there's 3 different levels to her hair, and breaking it down into levels can really help you to get some really fun hair. Sometimes we just think about the hair that's in the front and just hanging down on the sides, but we don't think about all 3 levels of this. Step number 3 is to create depth in your drawings, and even with hair you can create depth by adding a little bit of shadow. So a good rule of thumb with adding shadow is if you add darkness to something, it generally will push it back, and as you lighten something up, it'll bring things forward. So you'll see that I add a little shading towards the parts of her hair that I want to push back. Moving on to step number, is it 4? We're gonna call it 4. It might be 5, but we're calling it 4, is to be creative. Don't be scared of trying something different or unique in your drawing of your hair. So for this one, I'm going to give her really big ponytails. Again, thinking of them as shapes first of all, blocking them in. So those go to the side and kind of back of her hair. And then I'm thinking again about the front bangs, what they want to do, and then the sides. the fun part about doing these kinds of studies is to get wild and crazy with your designs of hair and how you style the hair and how you draw the hair. For the longest time, I had a set style that I would draw for every single character that I had. I was good at that style and I didn't want, if it ain't broke, why fix it? But with art, you always want to be pushing the boundaries, trying new things. And as Bob Ross would say, you don't make mistakes, you make happy accidents. So just jump in and see what you can do. I want to touch briefly on step number 5, talking about the braid, because the braid itself can be challenging and there are so many ways to draw braids. I think there's just as many ways to draw a braid as there is to actually braid someone's hair. So I don't think there's like one set tutorial on you draw this line, then this line, then this line, then this line. It depends on what type of braid you want. But again, if you break it down to those small little shapes or lines, that can really, really help. I found getting books about different hairstyles that like beauty salons would have gave me some really great ideas for hairstyles for my characters. So I actually have a hairstyle design book in my repertoire of books that I have for art. There are so many different areas that you can find for hairstyle ideas. So get out there and do some research. What about hair that's pulled back really, really tight? We'll talk about really full hair in a second and some tips for that, but for hair that's really pulled back tight, well, first you need to know how big the actual skull is. So even though you can't see it too well in the drawing, I have a very light line of what the head shape would look like without any hair. And as I pull the hair back, in this instance, you'll see I almost am drawing hair for hair, because you want to draw your hair in the direction that it's being pulled or the way that it's laying. So for this bun, I am creating that almost individual line shape, but more it's going in for the texture of the hair. This idea would work well too if you wanted just to give it back ponytail and you wanted a really tight pull to your hair, or if you had your hair wet and you wanted to give it that flat look. Just think about the way and direction that the hair is growing, and that's really going to help you. Volume is an important thing. The bigger the shape that you give to your hair off of the based skull is going to make your hair look like it has more volume and is fuller. So with this piece, it's pulled really tight, so you can see it just comes off just a little bit bigger than the actual skull shape. But what if you want hair that has a little bit more volume? Maybe it has a little bit of a wave to it. So step number 6, maybe? I think we're on 6, I don't know, is to think about gravity. With hair, even though it's very fluffy and frilly, it's going to fall towards gravity. So here I have a girl that has a light wavy curl. As the hair pulls down, you'll see that there's less weight pulling it towards the bottom, so that the curls tend to get a little bit bigger and fluffier at the bottom than at the top. Also, do you notice how I'm still using that shadowing to push things back and bring things forward? All right, we've covered extravagant hairstyles and ponytails, pulled back hair, wavy curly hair, wavy hair, but what about shaved heads? Well, you could just draw the shape of the actual scalp and be fine. You might want to have a little bit of texturing to go on in there to kind of show maybe the really, really short shaved head. So on this girl she has a little bit of bangs, maybe some hair on the one side of her head, but the side closest to us is shaved pretty tight. So I'm using a cross hatching to kind of give me that texture that you would get of really, really close shaved hair. So this is a style that I normally wouldn't draw, and I really had fun kind of experimenting with it. That's why I love studies, they're so fun. For my last hairstyle, let's get super wild and crazy with some massive volume and curls. Again, we're gonna talk about all the different steps that we had. First, overall shape. When you're sketching that in, just be really loose and light with your hand to get a really natural shape. If you really have a tight, controlled hand at the beginning, your drawing might look a little bit more tense or tight. So loosen up your whole arm, draw with your whole arm to get that shape. Also think about front, side, and back, and use those shadows to push and pull in your depth. Above all is to practice, practice, practice on your drawings. Again, if you would like to download this file so you can practice on this drawing, I will leave a link in the description box below so that you can check it out for yourself. Well, I hope this helped you in your artistic journey with drawing hair and gave you some ideas on drawing hair for yourself. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And again, let me know in the comment section what type of tutorial videos you'd like to see in the future. Well guys, have fun drawing, keep being creative, and as always, God bless you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you in the next art video. Bye-bye.